Hello, welcome back. Before we continue with the game, there's been a couple awesome comments from some viewers, and I just want to clarify a few things. Some of them thank you to the viewers who have been reading the rule book but have not yet played the game. So they're pointing out things that I missed and misunderstood. And then, let me get started. The first thing was, you might recall, over here in Easttown, Mr. McGlenn did an anomaly check here. So we had an encounter when the anomaly was here. And I drew the anomaly card, so let me just draw one. And what I did was, I said that there were 3 doom. And I did this bottom section because there was 3 doom over in this space over here. The rules flat out say that you do the section based on how much doom is in your space, not the neighborhood. So that was a big mistake on my part. When there was 3 doom in this space, but he was standing here, I would have read the section that had 0 doom. So this top section. So I read the wrong section on that one. Not a big deal, but for those of you that are watching, make sure you get that correct. And I did find the spot in the rule book. It flat out says right here, 406.3D. In case you're wondering, it tells you exactly that. The other thing is somebody clarified that the deluxe rulebook is with all pre-orders, not just those that were at the Arkham Knights, and that makes total sense. Didn't think we were that special for going to that thing. And then the last thing was, if you enter a space that has multiple monsters, I guess somebody said that I did the right things, but it was confusing. And I don't want to be confusing, of course. But I think what ended up happening was, sorry, I'm trying to move the camera around here. So I think what ended up happening was, if you enter a space that has multiple monsters, they both engage you, period. There is no, I get to choose who engages me thing. They both engage you, end of story. So I just want to clarify that. The other thing is when you're doing your actions, it says right here at the bottom, while engaged with a monster, you can only focus, attack, or evade. So I did this this old boiler wrong for, we got this little vehicle here that lets you plow over enemies. And so it says, after you perform a move action, you may deal 2 damage to one monster you are engaged with, and 2 damage to this card. So I mistakenly thought, okay, I gotta wait until I'm engaged to a monster and then I can do a move action, right? Because it says you are engaged with as part of the condition. But what really happens is you're gonna move into a space which then causes monsters to become engaged with you the moment you move into that space. So that is the moment you use the car. So I killed the High Priest with my car, but you probably might recall I did it by moving into the space, engaging the High Priest, and then I think I used this car as part of a move action to kill the priest. Just understand that the move action is not allowed. It's very clear in the rules. You're not allowed to do a move after you're engaged. So the outcome is exactly the same. The priest dies because of my car, but I was supposed to kill that priest the moment I moved into the space with the priest. I think there was a Byakhee there and a priest. So I would have killed the priest with the car, and then I fought the Byakhee the normal way. So that's how that would have played out. And I think it says you may deal 2 damage to one monster. Okay, yeah, so I would have had to pick one monster to kill that way. And so, yes, I would have killed the High Priest. The good news is I don't think there were too many other complaints rules-wise. Oh, somebody did ask, what happens if the headline deck were to run out? So if the headline deck completely runs out, nothing happens, at least not immediately. But should you need to draw another card from the headline deck and there's no more cards left, that moment that you were supposed to draw one, what you do instead is you put a doom directly on the scenario, which is always bad. So it's going to accelerate your doom, if you will. So yes, it is a bit of a timer, but just because the timer runs out doesn't mean you lose. So anyways, I hope that helps there. And if there's any other questions, let me know. I'm not claiming to be a total expert. I'm just a guy who stayed in a Holiday Inn last night and had the privilege of playing this before other people were able to. And so just as a refresher, we found the ritual site. That's what that blue marker is up there. And we need to have 5 clues to stop the ritual. We currently have 4. And we have 2 clues waiting to be researched. So we are very close to stopping the ritual. This anomalies card, nothing happens here. It's just basically explaining how anomalies show up in the neighborhood. We have this ritual. It just says when you reveal the red marker, add card 7 to the codex. So we haven't revealed the red marker yet, so we're waiting to do that. And then this last one, there were 3 or more clues, so we did the green section, but this is staying because if we ever get 3 or more doom, then we're going to trigger this red doom section. So I don't think that's going to be good for us when that happens. So that's our situation, and looking at our characters, we are at full health with Marie, and I think the biggest thing with Marie is she just has some clues she needs to get researched ASAP. But she has a watcher on her, so we're going to have to deal with that before she can do research. So that's a big problem. We have Ashcan Pete has a bazillion items and probably needs to give a few away to other players, but he's been sort of locked up in his own section of town. And then McGee's been doing his job well. He's been killing things, and he actually has extra weapons, and we probably want to give those away as well. But that's where we're at. We're starting a new round, and I think what I want to start with is Mr. McGee, and we're going to talk about how to take engagement from other players. So we're going to start with McGee, and his first action is going to be a move action, and he's going to go 1, 2 to the same space as Marie. And he has the ability to, all players, by the way, have the ability to take engagement from someone else. So he's going to steal the engagement of this. So the monster is going to switch to him. And in order to do that, you have to attack the monster. So he's going to attack the monster right now. And if somehow he doesn't succeed, this monster will now be engaged to him instead of her. Okay? So pretty simple, straightforward thing. But we want to do that to get, let's try to see if we can kill him. So there's no penalty to our attack. We get to roll 8 dice. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to roll them 4 at a time like I've been doing. And look at that. 1, 2, 3 hits with just 4 dice. So we killed the monster. We do get a remnant. So we're up to 3 now with him. And I could have used Old Boiler, by the way. I didn't think about that. I think somebody made the comment that when you're recording and controlling 3 characters at once, you lose focus. And they're absolutely right. Controlling 3 characters at once can get a little chaotic. And I just want to stress to everybody that you can play this game solo. You really can. You can pick one character and just play it. And this little cup phase where you do the Mythos Cup, it'll just take forever to go through all the... So you'll get to do many, many rounds before you actually get through the entire cup. And that's how the game changes. I will say that if you play solo, just one character, a character like Pete, who uses his guitar to help other players, worthless. But what I would say is just don't pick the guitar, pick his other ability, right? With her, she has this card that helps other players, and her ability helps other players. I think she's not very good to solo for that reason. I would actually say that she's a very bad character to solo, but if you like a challenge, go ahead and pick her. McGlenn here, I mean, my goodness, you can just steamroll. But he would be difficult to do research actions, for example. Okay, so we did that. We got rid of the monster, and we still have one more action. And so I think what he's going to do is just flip that token, because that action doesn't require any dice checks or anything. Let's see if we found the red token. We found a white one. White one is nothing. So we're going to go ahead and just throw that into the cup. And that's it for his turn. So now we're going to move to Marie here. And Marie has 2 clues. And then she obviously can help other people do an action. And what she's going to do is I think we're going to do a research action, and then we're going to do a ward action. And then Ashcan Pete is going to join her in that ward action. And my apologies, my camera is just really off today. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. But let's do the research first. And the research uses observation. We have 3. And then this card gives her +2 if she's doing research. So we're going to do 5 dice for the research action. So we're going to come around. I'm going to just still do 4 dice at a time. And I see 1 success. Okay. When you're playing with Dice Tower, you usually do count this, but that would be 3 successes. We only needed 2, so I don't need that 3rd one, but normally, you know, if you're rolling them all at once, that actually does happen. But anyways, we only needed 2. So I'm going to take these 2 clues, and both of the clues are going to go onto the scenario. So before we continue with our turn, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clues. So let's read our ritual site again. As an action, you may remove 5 clues from the scenario to stop the ritual. If you do, remove the blue marker. Okay, you have to be at the ritual, which Ashcan Pete is. So he will do that for his action. Okay, so we are going to do a ward action, and she has 3 lore plus 1 is 4. So we're going to do 4 lore for a ward, and she only needs 1. And she didn't get 1. She completely failed. So that stinks. And she was just trying to do there. But she's going to let Ashcan Pete get a free ward action there, and that's going to be good because he has 2 of them there to get rid of. So he's going to roll 4 dice. And right here you can see 2 successes. So now I'm just checking his cards to see if there are anything here that gives him any other bonuses that I wasn't aware of. I don't think there is. Oh, he can't do, oh my gosh. I didn't even pay attention to this. Look at this. He's got 2 people on him. There's no way he can do a ward action. Well, I guess that's that. She can't, there's nothing that he can do there. I guess I could have done like an evade and let him do an evade, but he actually has 2 on him. I totally apologize. I didn't even realize that. So can't do the ward action with him. So her turn's over, and now I guess we're doing his turn. Choose 1 monster on any space and test. I'm reading her binding spell. She can cause a monster to become exhausted. That actually would have been a nice thing to do. But I was so obsessed with doing this ward thing. All right, I get 3 actions, but I have 2 monsters on me. So I'm not going to get to do the stop the ritual thing. Because that's an action that I'm not going to be allowed to do. But what I can do is try to kill one of these. So I'm going to go after the occult ritualist here. And it says here it's a -0. His attack is 3. And then Duke gives him +1 for 4. And this knife gives him +1 for 5. And I believe that's everything. So we're going to roll 5 dice. Here's 4 of them. And there's the 1 hit. I'm sorry, I wasn't focused. There's the 1 hit right there. Okay, so I said I was attacking this ritualist, so I killed the ritualist, and he's done. I can't attack the other one because I'm not allowed to do the same action twice. I can evade this, though, and I'm going to do that. But before I do that, there's a card here. Jenna Capra. After you defeat a monster as part of an attack action, you may remove 1 doom from your space. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to get rid of a doom. And he still has a lot to do before he can get rid of all of them. And second action, we're going to try to evade. So I'm going to put this down. And the evasion is the eyeball check, observation. His observation is 3, by the way. So we're going to roll 3 dice. I'm just checking him to see if he gets any other bonuses, and the answer is no. He gets an eyeball bonus if he was doing a research. So he did 3 and he failed. So we failed to evade this rogue figure. Had we evaded, we would have been able to do other actions. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to. So that's it for us. We can focus, but we're already at our focus limit, so that's all we can do. So we're done with our turn. And now we go to the monster phase. The monster phase is very simple. We're engaged to Ashcan here, and it's just going to do 1 damage to Ashcan. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. I'm going to grab 1 damage here, and I can give it to like Duke or the teacher here. I can give it to Jenica Capra. I'm going to just go ahead and give it to Ashcan, so he has 1 damage at this moment. Okay, so we did the monster phase, and now we're doing encounters. So both Marie and McGee are at Velma's Diner. So we're gonna roll or do cards for East Town. Let's do Marie first. Abner Weems, the local drunk, leans against the wall as he starts telling you about the horrid fish frog monster he saw at the docks until Velma shoos him away. "Get you," she said, before turning to you with a sigh. "What'll it be? You may spend $1 for you or an ally to recover 3 health. She is completely healed, so we're going to spend nothing. And now we're going to go to McGee. And I'm making a big mess with these cards. "It's some fancy vitamin drink," says Velma dubiously. "My supplier told me to try some, but I don't know. What do you think? You may spend $1 to order some with your meal. If you do, you feel a new energy coursing through your veins. You or an ally recover 3 health. Just to clarify, his car is not considered an ally. It doesn't have the keyword ally on it. So therefore, there is no damage on him either, or any of his allies. So we're going to just decline both of those encounters. It's unfortunate. It's just because of the location we're at. And then Ashcan has to do an anomaly draw. And he has 1 doom in his space. "You dream of a library orbiting some distant world. On the highest shelf is the book of your life. Test lore." Okay, so let's do that. His lore, by the way, is 4. 3 plus 1 focus. Ooh, I passed that. Okay, if you pass, you read the words that you will intone tomorrow. You remove 1 doom from any space in your neighborhood. If you fail, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we're going to remove a doom, and that actually was pretty slick. I'm just putting away a card, and then I'll pick up the camera here. And we're going to go ahead and remove this doom right here. All right, so we just need to get Ashcan to stop having people stop being engaged so he can close the ritual. I mean, that's really what we're desperately trying to do. And then maybe we're trying to find this red symbol. I don't know exactly what the red symbol does for us, but I still think it's imperative that we find it. But we got to do our mythos phase. I was getting ahead of myself. So let's start with Marie first. We're getting near the end of the cup. The first one is a headline, and the second one is also a headline. So we're going to be doing 2 headlines here. So let's do that. The first one, longest running Arkham Playhouse closes. Final play, The King in Yellow, Buffo. Mysterious goings on at theater. Headline, you suffer 3 horror unless you place 2 doom in your space. That stinks. I'm looking at her. She has the ability to take 7 horror. She has 1 right now. So I'm going to take 3 horror. I don't want to put 2 doom in my space. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 horror. And that was a crappy card. Okay, now we'll go to the next card. This month's double full moon's especially bad. No scientific explanation available. Headline, rumor. Add this card to the codex and discard all other rumors. So we're going to discard that other rumor before it ever even happened. During the reckoning phase, each investigator tests their will. Each investigator who fails suffers 2 horror. Then any investigator may spend 1 clue to discard this card. So, what's her name? Marie is actually at a spot where 2 horror could get her in a lot of trouble. So, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this card. And now we got the new reckoning effect. Okay, now we're going to move on to Ashcan Pete. He's drawing 2, and we're going to draw a doom and then a monster. So we're going to grab from the back of our cards here, and the doom is going to go on the Black Cave. So Black Cave gets a doom, and just in case you're curious, that's the first doom there. All right, and then the other one is we're going to spawn a monster. So we're going to grab a monster from top of this or bottom of this deck, and it is a cult ritualist. So now don't be confused. That's the one we just killed at the top there. So we just happened to find another one. Spawn at street nearest leader. Okay, she's the leader. And I think somebody pointed out to me that I spawned in this street when this one was closer, because that space actually touches this street, whereas this one doesn't. So I hope I did it right this time. And thank you for pointing that out. So I have no choice but to spawn in that street. And that sort of stinks because I was hoping to move across the map to help Ashcan, and now I can't. But anyways, that happens. And now we're going to get to Mr. McGlenn. And this is, by the way, the last 2 in the cup. I'm just trying to get them out of the cup. And the last 2 is a clue and a reckoning. So we'll do the clue first. And I'm going to put everything back in the cup here. All right, done. Okay, so let's do the clue first. The clue is going to be in Rivertown. So I'm going to put this down and grab a clue and set it right here in Rivertown. And I'm going to take the top 2 cards of Rivertown and shuffle, shuffle. All right, that's done. And then the reckoning. So far, there's no items that we have that have reckoning. There's 2 things that have reckoning. Right here, for each cultist monster, place 1 doom in its space. And it says if it's in a street space, place a doom in an adjacent neighborhood instead. We do have a cultist monster, 2 of them in fact. So 1 doom is going to go where the anomaly is, but it's actually going to go on our card. So that stinks. And then the other one is going to go, we're going to go ahead and put it where Velma is, in Velma's Diner. So it'll go there. So that was unfortunate. The other part is here. Every investigator has to test their will, and every investigator who fails suffers 2 horror. Okay, so Marie has 2 will. That's very poor. 3 will plus 1 for Ashcan Pete, and then 3 will for Michael McGlenn. I think he had a 4th one, but we used it. So let's do Mr. McGlenn first. So we're going to do 3. And he passes. Now we're going to move to Marie, who only gets 2. She passes. And then we have all 4 dice for Ashcan Pete. I see a pass. Okay, so all 3 of them pass, and we avoided that mini disaster. Okay, so we are now on the action phase. Okay, there's a whole lot to do. We obviously want to kill some rogue figures and do other actions on top of that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Marie. And Marie has a space here. You can see it there, the roadhouse. That lets her heal mental damage. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a ward to try to remove those 2 tokens. And then we're going to do a move, and she's going to share her move action with another player. Okay? So let's do the ward. She's going to get 4 towards her ward. And that's 3 misses. And now it just did this. I'm sorry. Completely. So it was 3 misses, but then I dropped the 4th one down and it ended up knocking one of the misses to a pass. So we're just going to count it as 1 pass. I guess you have to sort of house rule that before it ever gets rolled. Anyways, we're going to get rid of 1. And then she's going to do a move because we desperately need to heal. Okay? And with her move action, she's going to let McGlenn move here. And the rules are you have to stop as soon as you encounter a ritualist. And so this ritualist only has one health. I would use the car to kill him, except McGlenn has to do 2 actions, and one of them can't be moved. So I would like to get him across the map, but he's sort of stuck. So we're going to just engage the monster, and that's the end of her turn. So now we're going to do his turn, and he's going to attack. So he gets to roll 8 dice. Only one of them needs to hit. And I would say that that's 4 failed. So let's get 4 more. Oh my gosh, he completely missed with 8 dice. All right, there's nothing he can do about that. So his last action is he could focus or he can evade. The focus actually isn't a bad idea. Evade, he actually gets a +1 to his evade. He's going to focus. And we're going to give him a will, because that test is going to be pretty nasty. So let's give him a will. All right, so they both went, and now we're going to go to Ashcan, who still has a rogue figure to deal with. And we have to attack. 3, 4, 5 to the attack. So we're going to do 5 dice here. And there's 3 hits. So rogue figure is done. And I just realized something. So before all of these turns took place, some of you might have been screaming at the camera. We have 3 here. And that happened during the Mythos Cup phase. So let's deal with Deja Vu. This occurs when there's 3 or more, we have to flip this. So we were supposed to do that before any of our actions took place this turn. So let's see what would have happened. Reveal cards from the bottom of the monster deck until you reveal a cultist monster. Spawn it in the street place nearest the leader and put the rest on top of the deck in a random order. And then add card 5 to the codex and return this to the archive. Okay, so that does change things a little bit. So we're going to add card 5. And then we need to find a cultist. So let's go through right there, the Hooded Stalker. So the Hooded Stalker is going to be in the same exact location as Mr. McGlenn. So McGlenn is now going to be have 2 that he's engaged with. And for the life of me, I never would have thought that I was going to miss with 8 dice against this one. The question is would I have used my car? I mean, they're both 1 hit points. I don't know if I would have. And that's the problem, is with them being only 1 hit point each. I wasn't too too concerned about them. But so I'm going to just leave it be. And I have 2 people I have to deal with. So that's the unfortunate part there. And then here, time unstuck. Through all the odd occurrences, a sense of rising dread fills the air. The people, the ones from the proper time, scurry from door to door, unwilling to be out under the gunmetal sky. Window shades are drawn and business close early. As fluid as time is, you seem to be running out of it. When there are 3 or more clues on the scenario sheet, add card 4 to the codex. When there is 7 or more doom on the scenario sheet, add cards 8 and 9 to the codex and return this to the archive. So we don't remove this. This obviously is escalating the doom. And if you recall, card 4 is the one we just put back. So card 4 is already out, actually. That's this profane ritual. So card 4 is already out, and don't have to worry about that. It's just basically the time unstuck thing is now, if we ever get up to 8 and 9, seven or more doom tokens, then more bad things are going to happen. Okay, so nothing really changes there, except McGlenn has a bigger problem than we originally thought. Okay, so going back to Ashcan Pete, he killed his guy. That was the first action. Second action is we're going to close this ritual. And then the third action is we're probably going to move, or we'll figure it out. Let's close the ritual first. So coming over to here, we're going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And discard those. And it says, you may remove 5 to stop the ritual. If you do, remove the blue marker and flip this card. And that's what we're going to do. I'm grabbing the blue marker right now. And we're going to flip this card. Barrier destroyed. You break the last of the ritual circles and feel the magic. I'm just... Oh, I see. This says, when you reveal the red marker, if the barrier is destroyed, add card 7. So what we just did is we just destroyed the barrier. Okay, all right. I'm following now. You break the last of the ritual circles and feel the magic of the place flare brightly and burn away. There's nothing left of the cult ritual but rotting meat and broken paraphernalia. But as you watch, botflies land on the meat and wriggle into their maggot selves, then climb back into their eggs. Time is not amended, and the danger is not past. Grabbing hold of one of the surviving cultists, you extract some meaning from her mad ravings. This ritual was not the source of the disaster. It was only meant to keep you away from the place where Azathoth was summoned. The barrier is destroyed. Do not remove this card from the codex. So we officially destroyed the barrier. So we need to find that red marker. That's really what that means. And as far as Ashcan Pete's concerned, we need to get rid of these 2. So we're going to move there because we got to get rid of that anomaly. All right, that ends our turn. So now we go to the monster turn, and it's a simple monster phase. We have 2 engaged, so 1 health and 1 mental is going to happen. 1 horror and 1 health is going to happen to McGlenn here, and I think they both just have to go on him. And I do have to remember, after you defeat a monster as part of an attack action, you recover 1 sanity or focus 1 skill of your choice. I forgot about that. So I probably would have tried to evade one of these, but that's fine. I need to remember that for the future. And let's keep moving. So we now do the encounter phase. So McGlenn doesn't do an encounter because he has engaged enemies. We're going to do an anomaly for Ashcan Pete. He has 2 threat on his, or 2 horror. I keep calling them threat, I apologize. A gleaming gateway reveals an Arkham with tall buildings and fascist iconography. So you try to steal the gate, lore -1, or try to seal the gate, I'm sorry. Lore -1, so his lore is 4, and we'll subtract 1 for 3. And I need to show you. So there you can see I missed miserably. We would have removed 2 doom. That would have been nice. If you fail, you realize the future is all too likely. You suffer 2 horror. We could re-roll. I don't necessarily want to. So I'm going to just take the 2 horror. And I'm going to give 1 to Jenica Capra and 1 to Duke. So that is done. And now we got to do East Town for Marie, and we are in the Hibbs Roadhouse. Everyone is wielding pool cues and broken bottles. Either test strength to join the brawl, or spend $1 to order refreshments. If you pass or spend the money, it's all diverting amusement. You or an ally recovers 3 sanity. Okay, that's what we want. So we're spending the $1 because I don't want to fail. Her strength is only 2. So we're spending the $1. We're going to recover 3 sanity. Yep, and that's all we need to do. That was exactly what we were hoping that space would do for us. So in her case, we recover 3. All right, so she's back to reasonable numbers. And now we do the Mythos phase. So we'll start with her and keep going through. We have a full cup. If I put horror in certain spaces, this is going to be very bad. So starting with her, a clue and a blank. So the clue card is going to be the Merchant District. So we got a second clue there. And I'm just shuffling. Okay, now we're going to go to Ashcan. I'm summoning a monster and the Reckoning. Okay, let's do the monster first. Oh, this isn't good. A Keening Hound, spawn at the most doom. Looks like he's spawning where Ashcan is, because there's 2 doom there. So he's going to engage Ashcan right away. And yep. So he's there with Ashcan. And then we do the Reckoning. Like I said, there's no Reckoning anywhere except for here. For each cultist monster, put 1 doom in its space. There's 2 cultist monsters, and they're going to go where the street is, and we get to choose. It has to be a neighbor or a space that's next to the street. So I get to split them because it's always our choice. So we're going to do that. And then we have to do this last one where every investigator has to test their will, or they're going to get 2 horror. So let me put this down. So we're starting with McGee here, or McGlenn. He has a will of 4 with his focus token. There's 3 of them, and there's the 4th one. Pass. Okay, and then I have 4 for Ashcan Pete. I don't see any passes. So Ashcan Pete just took 2 horror. He's going to give 1 to Jenica and 1 to Duke. Okay, now we move to Marie, who only has 2 will. We need to get her a focus. So she just spent all that time removing horror, and she just gained 2 more back. And unfortunately for her, she has nobody to give them to. All right, so we took a lot of horror there, and now we're on to McGlenn. He's drawing his 2. And we're going to summon a doom and a headline. So the doom first is going to be on the north side at the train station, which is not good because that means it's going directly on our That's where the anomaly is. And so the Doom token is going to go directly on our scenario sheet. So we're up to 4 Doom tokens now. And then the other one was, what was it? Oh, the headline. Miskatonic University zoologist stumped. Authorities not concerned. Probably a hoax, says sheriff. Test will and resolve the effect based on your test result. Okay, so this is McGlynn. His will is 4. So we want probably better than a 0 here. Okay, so let's see. We got a 1. So with a 1, you gain 1 remnant, spawn 1 monster at the unstable space. All right, so we get another remnant. He's up to 4, by the way. And then spawning the monster at an unstable space, we just have to look at the top card here, and the unstable space is the Black Cove. So the what we do in that situation is we ignore the text on the monster of where he says he spawns at. And he goes, and what's funny is this one actually spawns at the unstable space. So right there, it goes on the Black Cove. So we now all of a sudden have a lot of monsters to deal with. So that's not fun. And it is our action. And we have a lot to do. Ashcan has a monster on him and an anomaly to close. Marie has a lot of horror on her. And I think what I'm going to do is start with Marie. And I'm going to move her 2 spaces to where the street is. And she's going to engage this hooded stalker. And I know that's crazy for her, but she's going to do it. And her attack is 2. But she has this knife that gives her 2 more, so she's going to get 4 attack. So we're going to roll 4 dice. We only need 1 success. And we got it. So we killed this hooded stalker. Okay. I don't think we get anything for that. But what she's doing now is she's going to give that action to somebody else. And she's going to give that to... I have to choose. Am I going to give it to Ashcan or am I going to give it to McGlynn? And I think I'm going to give it to McGlynn. Ashcan gets 3 actions. So we're going to give it to McGlynn, and he's going to roll 8 dice to do 1 hit. So let's get it done. And there you go. There's 3 hits right there. So his occult ritualist is killed. This ravenous predator is pretty nasty. It is a hunter. It's going to move directly towards and engage the lowest will, which is Marie. And it has 3 life points and a -1 to strength for anybody attacking it. So it's going to be tough. And its speed is an asterisk. What does that mean? Let me think about that. I think it means it's just going to move all the way. I'll have to look that up. I actually don't remember what that means, when the speed is an asterisk. Okay, so we do have an issue there. And McGlynn is our fighty guy, but and we do need to go to that space. This is where the challenge comes in. Her turn is over. McGlynn can go now, or Ashcan. Let's start with Ashcan. Let's do him first. He is going to do an attack, of course. This is a -1 to the attack. So, and you need 4 hits. So he's got his work cut out for him. And I don't know if you remember, but we actually had 2 times where he took 2 horror, because I gave 1 to her and 1 to Duke. And I'm going to just give 2 to the Elder Sign Amulet, because the ability says once per round, if 2 or more horror would have been dealt to this card, prevent 1. I think they both happened in the same round, so what I'm going to do is just do that once. How about that? So I was able to do it once per round, and then the second time I had to dish it out. Okay, so this thing gets -1. So we have 3, 4, 5 attack, and there's a -1 because of this. We do get to re-roll a die because of that. So let's give it a try. 3, 4, 5. And then -1. So we're gonna roll 4 dice, and we need to get 4 hits. Holy cow. They're not gonna kill this thing. I got 2 hits though. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna do 2 hits to the monster, but it's not enough. So then with the second action, we're gonna try to evade. Why not? The evade though is at -2, and we're at a 3. So that means we only get to roll 1 die, and that 1 die has to succeed. Let's see if we can do it. And we did not. My rabbit's foot lets me re-roll a die, so let's try. And look at that, I succeeded. So what happens when you evade? It's pretty simple. The monster just sort of exhausts, and when it becomes the monster round, all it's going to do is unexhaust. And since we evaded, we actually get a bonus action. So we actually have 2 actions left. And so we can get out of dodge if we want. We can actually run away. But before I run away, I'm actually going to try to do a ward action there. And it's going to be a little easier because Janica here says after you defeat... Oh, we didn't defeat a monster. Never mind. Let's do a ward action, which is going to be a 4. And there's 2 successes right there. So we succeeded twice. So we're going to get rid of both of these and finally get rid of this anomaly. Holy buckets. Okay, so that town is actually cleared out. And since we got rid of 2, we get a remnant for Mr. Ashcan. And remember, this monster is still here and exhausted. So with our last action, we're going to move out of dodge. We got to get out of there. And so where do we want to go? This monster won't move because it's just going to basically unexhaust itself. So we can just move 2 spaces and be safe for now. And I think what we'll do is we'll move here to the unvisited isle because we want to check that token because we're looking for the red token still. All right, next up is McGlenn. And McGlenn is an interesting situation. He can't attack because we already used the attack through her bonus action. So he can move up and engage that ravenous predator, but the problem with engaging the ravenous predator is he's going to move, he's going to engage, then he would have to evade it. His evasion ability is a 1. So, we can go in and run it over with our car. Let's check out its hit points. It's 3. Ooh. So we could run it over with the car, but it's not going to kill it. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. So my 2 thoughts are, I can go check out that question mark up there. This predator is going to go after Marie. It moves an asterisk, and I think we need to figure out what that asterisk means. So bear with me. I'm just going to look up the word speed. And of course, speed is nowhere on here. You would think that that would be something. All right, so I'm going to look up monster since speed is apparently not there. Get this Trying to make it so you can see what I'm seeing, but it's not very helpful. So I'm going to keep trying to look here. Monster speed indicates how many spaces it moves during its activation. Great. All right, well, I'm at 50 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and see if I can find this and figure this out before I start back up. Thanks for watching.